Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kuzi and welcome back to another Escape from Tarkov video. This video is going to be all about early wipe barters. What I'm going to be doing is going through each trader up until loyalty level 3, giving you what I believe are the best barters from each loyalty level. Now, just like any other guide that's either mine or anybody else's out on the internet, it is subjective. This is my personal opinion. So what I think might be best might be different from what you think is best. And if that's the case, please let me know down in the comments below. Speaking of algorithm help, my dude, if you do like today's video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you're new, first of all, welcome. If you want to find your way back for more Tarkov content, make sure to hit the subscribe button with notifications on. I do stream on Twitch Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern and on Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern. It'd be awesome to have you stop by and say hello. The link for that is in the description down below. But enough pitter patter chitter chatter. Let's get into it. All right, so let's go and jump into it. Let's start off with Prapor. All right, so loyalty level 1. The one I want to start out with is this 6B23 barter. It barters for 1 propane. The next one is this 6L10 mag. It's a 7.62x39. Whenever you take price of mag versus price of the barter item, pliers are like mad cheap and you can find them literally everywhere. But the fact that you can barter 1 for a mag and you can do up to 4 per reset is actually huge. The other one is the AKM. The AKM is good. A lot of times with these loyalty level 1 trades, you don't really get valuable stuff. The AKM is a good weapon to have early wipe, and if you chuck some PS ammo in there, the first little bit of wipe, kind of where we're at now, it's very powerful. All right, loyalty level 2, dude. We're gonna look for the ammo barters. All right, there's a total of 3 barters that you can do. The BP ammo one isn't that worth it whenever you factor in what it barters for. You're looking at 2 cleanse per 30 pack. That's not really worth it whenever you think of the type of ammo it is, all right? However, you've got 2 BT ammo barters here for 545. If you don't have access to like BS or Eagle Neck or whatever, the 2 best ammos in that caliber, BT is your go-to, bro. For 2 skinny Tashankas, you get a 30 pack and you can buy up to 2 per reset, and then you can turn around and get a defuel and buy 1 30 pack per reset. The other one is the 60 rounder or the 545 caliber. The only thing is you can craft this in the hideout, but you need lavatory level 2, and a lot of times you'll get to gunsmith part 2 before you get to lavatory level 2. And Gunsmith Part 2 is a task where you have to craft a AKS 74 with like the specified modifications or whatever, and one of those modifications is this 60 rounder. You do have a Prapor task that comes down the line that I think opens up this barter. I can't remember which one it is, but in the event you get to that task that unlocks the barter before Gunsmith Part 2, this is actually really good to have. Loyalty level 3, we're talking about BS ammo, dude, all right? The fact that you can get 3 of these per reset for 2 hot rods and 2 Marlboro, the cigarettes, bro, all right? That's actually really huge. It's really huge because this arguably, in my opinion, is better than Eagle Neck. All right, Eagle Neck has better pin, but this has better flesh damage, so it's god tier. And the fact that you can get 90 of them per reset with just this, that's insane. The honorable mention, and I know it's a fucking meme, and I didn't really want to put it on here, but I did it out of sympathy. The Corand is good, and the only reason I say that is because it is class 5. It repairs horribly. The durability is horrible. It's got 45 armor points, so 1 bullet is gonna fucking tank it. But I mean, for 4 diaries, if you're in dire straits and you cannot get any other better armor, this is a good last resort. All right, moving on to Therapist. Now, loyalty level 1 for her isn't that great. You've got the Salewa for a paid, which is kind of common. I forget where off the top of my head. You can get it at like Woods and stuff. And then the hemostat is actually really good, this barter, because you just need 2 screws, and the Calic B hemostat it's a 3 use and it stops heavy bleeds. So this is actually worth it. And I'm not saying go out of your way to do any of these barters, but if you happen to pick up like some screws or something like that and you don't need them outright, then go ahead and chuck them up here for a hemostat, dude. Loyalty level 2 is whenever we start getting a little bit juicy. The first and foremost one is the Docs case. Docs case is arguably one of the most important things you can get early wipe, because you can put keys, you can put intel, you can put flash drives, you can put a bunch of shit in there. And it's just 1 cat, which is around 40K if you have the flea market unlocked by this point, which I can't remember if you do. A bronze lion, which you can find on interchange and in safes. and horses. The other thing is a new item that was added in 12.12, and it's the injector case. It is a 16 slot item, dude, and I mean the barter is a little bit expensive, but it's an investment, because if you think about it, you're finding a lot of stems in raid, be it morphine, propyl, obdolbos, meldonin, whatever. Instead of it taking up spots in your inventory, you can just chuck it in the injector case, put it in your secure container, you're good to go. And then lastly, for loyalty level 2, this was kind of like an honorable mention. The Grizzly is about 35k, between 35 and 40k on the flea market. I love the Grizzly. It's my favorite thing. I am what you call a Grizzly enjoyer, simply because it does everything. It's got a shit ton of HP, and it stops light bleeds, heavy bleeds, it restores fractures. It's all in one. Even if you have like a standard account, you can just chuck this in your secure container and you'll be good for a while, until you start getting things like a dox case or something, you know. But gas analyzer is about 13k, and then a UV lamp is around 9 and 10. Okay, and you can get 2 of these per reset, so they're worth getting if you're kind of running low on meds. This is a very good medical item. Now, loyalty level 3, there's not much that I believe is like worth. In fact, there's only really one thing, and then there's like an honorable mention. It's this ETG stem, dude. This ETG stem I don't even use yet. I need to start doing it, but it's incredible. It like gives you an HP boost. Like, so if you're in the middle of a fight and you get fucked up pretty bad, you can just pop one of these and it'll almost restore your health immediately, provided you don't have any blacked out limbs. But it's selling for like 100k on the flea market right now at the time of recording. And for 4 shampoos, that's insane. It's absolutely insane. So this is definitely worth getting once you have a loyalty level 3. The honorable mention, which now that there's like an injector case, I don't know if this is necessarily worth it unless you go to Shoreline a lot. The med bag. All right, here's the meta, dude. You get a big ass backpack, like a tri-zip, or like a not necessarily a tri-zip, but like an attack 2, a raid bag, whatever. You stick this in here and you can put all of your meds in there, including stems and all that stuff, and you just stick it in your bag. And it's, how many slots is that? I forgot. 48 slots worth of meds, and then on top of that you can fit whatever other items you get at Shoreline there too. Like I said, only maps that I believe is worth it is places like Shoreline, Labs, if you're into that kind of thing, and maybe Woods, because they do have the FOB and the USEC camp. All right, let's move on to Skier. All right, his murders aren't exactly the best. In fact, for loyalty level 1, there's only one that I think is worth it. I mean, he's got a lot to choose from here. The Vepr 136 is okay. In fact, I think you can buy it outright from like Jaeger. Don't quote me on that. It's actually a good gun to have because I mean, it is a 7.62 caliber. Loyalty level 2, this arguably I think is the best one. It's the 12 gauge suppressor. You'll need it for whenever you do quests like Setup and Silent Caliber. So early on, you can just take whatever clocks you have and just use it to stockpile these, because they sell out real quick. Maybe not necessarily the suppressor themselves, but whenever we get to Jaeger, I'll show you. And then the other one is kind of like an honorable mention. People still have mixed feelings about this. It's the MCX. I think it's a good gun, but whenever you talk about the value of the barter, I don't know if it's really worth it, but I had to have something up here so that it wasn't just the suppressor. I mean, the big stick is pretty good because you can use it for your 45 vectors. And whenever you talk about price and the amount you can get per reset, it's not that bad. Now for loyalty level 3, there's a couple here that I want to talk about. The first one being the Voodoo. The Voodoo, I know they added a couple new sites, but the Voodoo is one of my favorite sites to use. Favorite scope, excuse me. All the EFT gun connoisseurs are gonna come at my throat now. But this is a really good scope. Considering it's only 2 GPXs, that's not bad. At the time of recording this, GPXs are mad expensive. I think there's like a craft that you gotta have it for, but it is worth. The other thing is the DVL. I know it's not the Saboteur or the suppressed one, but you can get this because at loyalty level 4, there is a barter for the DVL that's suppressed, but it's like a power filter, the military power filter, and that's going for like 1,000,000 rubles right now in the flea market. So if you get this, you can get the suppressed barrel and the cap for pretty cheap. And lastly, the other one that's really good, you've got the Thunder Beast suppressor, and it goes for 2 caps and a boss cap. The boss cap I just checked is like 10k on the flea right now. And then this cap, I imagine, isn't that expensive either because, I mean, it's not that popular. But you can put this on like an MDR, dude, and it's good. Moving right along to Peacekeeper. Again, loyalty level 1, not that great. In fact, the only one that I put on my notes here is the for 7 black handled knives, which you can get off of literally almost every single scab that you run into. It's very common. In a few raids, you'll have this in no time. You'll be able to get an ump. Loyalty level 2. The M67 hand grenade is arguably my favorite. I know that they added like impact nades and shit like that, but you'd be surprised how many people I've been able to kill with the M67, not necessarily by the grenade itself, but by chucking the grenade and then pushing up, because it has a 5-second fuse. All right. So most people are used to VOGs where like they hear the grenade and then it blows up. But this one, people will like freak out, and you can use the grenade to push somebody out of a room, and you can push up, and it's incredible. It's incredible. 2 Zippos, you're chilling. The last one for loyalty level 2 is the Bravo sight. Now, Barter's a little bit expensive, so I don't know if it's really worth, but I do like this sight, especially if you chuck like an RMR sight or a Delta Point, preferably a Delta Point, on top. It's a really good sight. The reticle is really clean. So I would honestly, even though it's a little bit expensive, 40K for the SAS drive and 30-ish for the whiskey, you're looking at about 70K. But I mean, if you can't get it on the flea or whatever, it's a good barter. Loyalty level 3 is when we get a little bit juicy with Mr. Peacekeeper. And there's a couple of them. All right. You've got intel, 5 big diaries, 5 slim diaries. You're chilling. You need this for your intel center, and you need this for scav case runs if you choose to go that route. So for the price, dude, this is actually really good, considering intel itself is going for like 360K last time I checked on the flea market at the time of recording this. So the intel barter's probably the best one for loyalty level 3. The other one is twofold. You've got the NVGs, the quad nods, bro. These are what I believe the best NVGs in the game. And so if you've got 9 greater than level 25 dog tags, you can get it for free pretty much. Or if you have moonshine, you can barter for that. The honorable mentions, I will say, are stuff like the RSAS, but the M1A is really good as far. We'll be back after this commercial break. All right, so we were finishing up on Peacekeeper. I had said that Intel, NVGs, and all that stuff were good. And then I said something about the RSAS for Gunsmith, and then the M1A for 10 USB adapters is good money. You can sell it back to mechanic and make a little bit of profit. The 60 rounders, obviously anytime you're paying less for a 60 rounder, the better. However, with the way that they rework things with ergonomics and recoil and stuff like that, 60 rounders aren't really the meta this wipe for some reason. So especially like the PMAG. The PMAG is incredibly expensive right now if you're wanting to barter for it, because you can't get it on the flea market, and green bats are like a stupid amount, like 500K, because of the hideout requirement. So I would recommend, if you must go with a 60 rounder for like an MCX or something like that, go with the Stenag 60 rounder. All right, it's a GM counter, so that's like 20K on the flea, and then 2 PCB boards. Moving on to mechanic, my dude, level 1. You've got the custom 4 stock for the MP133.
133, man.
For 1 damage hard drive, you need this for the Gunsmith Part 1 task. The other alternative is you can run the this guy and take some of the parts off of it. It does come with an RMR sight, so that's pretty cool, but 2 elite pliers and a screwdriver. Level 2 for the suppressors, dude. The Hyper 46. This is obviously the best bang for your buck. I think RAM is like 8K on the flea or something like that. And you can buy 3 per reset, and then mechanic will buy this back for more. Same with the Osprey 9. Whenever the drill is not mad expensive, so give it a little bit later in the wipe, you can get the drill for like 20K. Buy this and make, you know, a couple thousand ruble profit. But I mean, it's still profit. Also, on top of that, if you don't feel like just cheesing it like that, you could just use these, and they're really good suppressors. This is an honorable mention. You will need this pistol grip for the Gunsmith task, where you have to do the AS Val. I can't remember which part it is, but the reason why I say go with this, because 1 milk is like 14K at the time of recording this, but the pistol grip itself, 100K. So this is another reason why I think barters are mad overlooked and super underrated. Now level 3, I've got a couple of them. The first one is mad expensive, but considering the circumstances where you need this for a task, it's definitely worth getting. So 2 aces and 5 relays get you the 6B43 Zabralo armor. I wouldn't recommend getting this for personal use unless you get it, go into factory, let some scavs beat up on you a little bit so you can have it brought down below 50% durability for the task. But other than that, dude, it's not really worth. The other thing that you could do is you could barter for it and then sell it to Ragman. He buys it for damn near 400K. And I think you're going to be making profit if you go with that. So let's see a couple more here. You've got the black key card. Whenever you think about the grand scheme of things, about the rarity of the black key card and how much it's going for on the flea, the barter for it is going to be the move. The barter's a little bit expensive, but again, in the grand scheme of things, it's worth it. However, I don't know what kind of arm tier has a bot up or whatever, but every time he refreshes, it's almost instantly out of stock. So you gotta like camp this shit and spam refresh, and then you will be good to go if you're lucky. I'm torn, dude, because they're not that great, but they could be. So for instance, the SA58, very cheap barter considering what you get. You get a 308 drum mag and then a couple of good like mounting rails and stuff like that. And I mean, the SA58 it's not the greatest. I mean, if you look at the stats, dude, 168 vert recoil is just not, it's a cannon pretty much. But whenever you factor in the stuff that you get with it, it's probably not that bad of a deal. And then the other is the 762x39 rotor suppressor. It's not the best suppressor by any means, but if you're down bad and you have no other options and you've got 2 extra magnets laying around, it's the move. All right, Ragman. Again, just like every other trader, not very good level 1 barters, but I will say there's 2. The first one is the Kiver. If you can get a face shield for this, early wipe, this is like a poor man's Alton, okay? Trust. I know it doesn't sound like it. I know it seems like it's not, but it's good, dude. It saved my life multiple times in factory. The other one is the 6B47. You can get it. You're paying slightly less than what you would pay Prapor for it outright, but you need this for the Punisher task. And if you're like me and you suck at the game, you're gonna die a lot whenever you get to that task where you have to use this helmet and the P.A.K.A. So you're gonna be limited with Prapor. So whenever you reach your limit there, you can come here and barter for that. All right, let's see, level 2. I've got Comtax here. Headphones are preference, but if you like Comtax, this is definitely the move here. Let's see, the other one I have is it's a tie between the new armored rig, the MAC, which is a class 4 armor. It's like a class 4 slick pretty much, but it's an armored rig. You get all that space, and for 1 sewing kit and 1 rep stop, you can't beat it. It repairs incredibly well, but it does only provide thorax protection, so that's why I said it's like a class 4 slick. The other one is a tri-zip for 4 ES lamps. Now the ES lamps right now are pretty expensive just because of the hideout upgrade, but later on in the wipe, they're a little bit more cheap. Now level 3, I've got the Gazelle, not like most important by any means, but if you think about all the quests you need the Gazelle for, it's worth bartering for, okay? But the most important one that I think is like, you gotta go with this barter, dude, is the TV-110, all right? 85 armor points and repairs incredibly well. Only protects your thorax though, but that's okay. Container size, fucking huge, all right? You can fit 2 Grizzlies if you want to, but yeah, it's a great rig. Arguably my favorite armored rig in the game. And then you factor in what you're paying for the barter, incredible. The other one is the other new armored rig, the Strandhog. Class 4 armor repairs incredibly well as well. 45 armor points and a pretty good amount of storage. Let's see. And then the alternative to the TV-110, because this gets sold out pretty quick, it's not the best, but the M1, whenever you factor in what you're bartering for, like what you got to get, it's not that bad. And then the honorable mention that I have here isn't something that you absolutely have to have, but this is often overlooked whenever you're just doing loot runs, and it's this rig, dude. The Velocity rig. It's got 24 slots. It only takes up 12, so you get double slottage. And so if you go to like interchange and you have like a burr cut on, you can literally chuck this into your burr cut and have all of this room for extracurricular activities on top of whatever else you can fit into the back. All right, lastly, Jaeger, dude. We're gonna go with, he's actually got some pretty good level 1 barters, honestly. You've got the Burris, okay? And then you can turn around and pay 2 vodkas for that, and then use a weapon safe key and a TP and get the scope mount for it. And then lastly, let's see, the dog tag case. All right, the dog tag case is a little bit expensive. It's 3 flash drives, so you're looking at 180K-ish. However, whenever you factor in all of the tasks that you got to turn in dog tags for, it's very worthwhile getting this, because even though you can put dog tags in your Lucky Scab junk box and stuff, it's just, I don't know, it's much cleaner. It's only one slot. Last but not least, Old Faithful for level 1 loyalty, Scab Vest. You need this for the Punisher series and for setup. And on top of that, you can use 3 of them to craft some fabric in the hideout. You can buy this on the flea market for like 16K, or you can pay half the price and just get a Slickers and for like 8,500 or something like that, and you will be good to go. And there's no limit for this. All right. So level 2, I couldn't really find anything like mad good with level 2 here, but the Holodilnick is very good. It's, if you're trying to actually get it, it's actually very easy, because you can go into Goshen with like, I don't know, the velocity rig that I was saying. Go into Goshen and you can get pretty much all of these 3 in one run. The hot rods, I can't remember if they spawn over in Goshen. I know that they spawn in woods, so that might be your best bet for the hot rods. You can also craft the hot rods in hideout too. So, but this stuff, if you go into Goshen with the intent to look for just these 3 things, you'll be able to get the barter in 1 to 2 runs. Anything else I didn't really find worthwhile. I mean, you've got the M700 for 35K, because that's how much the beard oil goes for typically. I mean, it's a good bolt action, but I don't know. The Grizzly and the Serve Kit, the wooden clock is like 40K, and the Grizzly only costs like 35, so it's not worth it. As well as the Vase, the Serve 12 goes between like 30 and 35 on the flea, and the Vase costs you about 42, so I would stay away from those barters. All right. And lastly, level 3. Hear me out, dude. All right, I got a few of them, okay? First and foremost, the Mark Key. Let's talk about it. So this wipe, they've made the Mark Key incredibly rare, in my experience at least. And nobody's putting it up on the flea market for like a reasonable price. Like, they're just hiking up the prices, asking for insane barters. So I don't know, man. But you can find the RBVO and the RBBK Mark Key on the flea for pretty cheap. But if you find the PKPM, it's worth bartering for the Mark Key, because you need this for the Cult Part 2. Or you could just go into customs and late in raid and hope that somebody unlocked Marked. But just for extra insurance, I would barter for this. But and 2, I've heard that like Mark gives like incredible loot, but in my experience, I have not had anything like God tier be found in the marked room. So that's the first one. Now the other one is the Red Rebel. Okay, this is just like an aesthetic, but it is useful because maps like Reserve and Lighthouse, and I don't think there's another map yet that has a Red Rebel extract, but this gives you access to a couple different extracts. It's a little bit expensive, but if you can get it on the flea, but what you're paying for it on the flea is astronomical compared to what you would pay for the barter. The other 2, or I've got 3 left. The Fleer, the barter for it is actually mad cheap, especially since you can craft all of this in the hideout for pretty cheap. You can also buy these things on the flea market for pretty cheap as well. The Fleer is going for like 450 to 500K whenever I don't think you can sell it on the flea market anymore, but the value of the item versus the cost of the barter items, definitely worth it. If you're a Fleer kind of person. I personally like the Reap, but that's completely up to you. Let's see, 2 more here. We got the Bramit suppressor. If you're down bad enough and you need a suppressor for your Mosin, then this is the move. Okay, is worth mentioning. And the last one worth mentioning is the grenade case. Okay, the barter items aren't that expensive now. Early wipe, the hunter matches were like insane. You can do 2 things with this. You can either get it and use it for stocking up on grenades for quests like Grenadier, where you're gonna use a lot of them, or you can barter for it, turn around and sell it to, I think, either Ragman or Therapist, and they'll pay you like 328K. So if you can get the items at a pretty low cost, you're gonna be making heaps of profit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that is gonna wrap up this video. Do me a favor, if you have any other barter ideas, let me know in the comments down below if you found something that works best for you. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment down below with any kind of feedback or memery that you got. If you're new here, again, welcome. It's nice to have you. If you want to find your way back for more Tarkov content, make sure to hit the subscribe button with notifications on. I do stream on Twitch Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern and on Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern. It'd be awesome to have you stop by and say hello there as well. The link for that is right down in the description, okay? So anyways, until next time, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.